She is the daughter of that evil witch, yet she stands on our side, saving countless lives. When I first heard the secret, I could hardly believe my own ears. Chapter 37, Balcony Confessions. Serena stared ahead of her at the lavish green plains that seemed to continue for miles before fading into the blue of the morning sky. The sun had risen for a few hours now, making the plump white clouds take a silver hue, just like Ajax's eyes. Serena closed her eyes and took a shuddering, long breath. Her hands clutched around the stony railing of the balcony she was standing on. Her heart was heavy and she had a bad headache. Everything that Lilith had told them was repeating in her head over and over again. Her mind drifted to the chaotic end of their meeting. Lilith, daughter of Melina the witch and this powerful witch known in Aetheria. A pin drop silence filled the room as everyone looked at Lilith with shock. Serena felt Ajax's body tremble with anger before a loud growl left his chest. In an instant, she was pushed behind him and he stood in front of her protectively. "You are the daughter of that motherfucking bitch." He roared furiously. His claws and fangs elongated and his voice became so deep. "How the hell has the council trusted a person like you?" Royal Gamma was behind Lilith in an instant and snarled at Ajax, completely ready for a fight. He was a large man with a toned and muscular body. He could have easily been a strong alpha if he was not the Alpha King's Gamma, so he was definitely able to fight Ajax head-on. "Alpha Ajax," he snarled in warning, his golden eyes shining bright as he stared at Ajax. "You will watch your mouth when you John," snapped Lilith and tilted her head toward the Gamma. Her tone was full of authority. "I've got it. Thank you. Sit down. Please. Let's calm down, shall we?" yelled Alric, who was still sitting with Freya and Dorian, glancing back and forth between Lilith and Ajax. "Calm down," spat Ajax as his men stood behind him. "She is the daughter of our fucking enemy. She could be manipulating us and led us to our death. That is outrageous." It was Sebastian who shouted suddenly, startling Serena and bringing her out of the trance she had gone through after his revelation. She watched the always calm and smiling mage standing with tight fits. His face was almost as red as his hair from anger and was scrunched to a frown. It was the first time she had seen the mage angry. "You have no idea what you are talking about, Elf Ajax," he stated firmly. "So it's better you shut up." "Asibi," Lilith warned, but Seb's head snapped to her and his frown intensified. "No, Lilith. I won't stand down and watch these people insult you. You are the one who had gone through hell and back to protect everyone in Aetheria. You are the person who has put her life at great risk and acted like a spy beside Melina. Without you, darkness had already covered Aetheria fully." His head then snapped back toward Ajax and he narrowed his furious eyes at the alpha male who was easily twice his size and pointed an accusing finger toward him. "Without you, this alpha wouldn't be standing with his mate right now." He spat with a deathly voice. He would have never found her on that snowy night and would have been suffering with his pack in their barren lands. "The least you can do, to my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm, is to be grateful." "Oh really?" Ajax smirked in his delight and took a step toward the table, but had separated him and Sebastian. He was too far gone to let the small pang of guilt that he felt after hearing Sebastian's words stop him. "Am I should we trust you, may I ask?" he snarled. "You are a fucking minion. You enough." Suddenly Ajax was pushed back with an unseen force. He slid back a few steps and stood rigid in his place. His body was trembling in an effort to move, but it seemed he couldn't even move a muscle. Silence once again settled into the room, and despite the sun that had risen more into the sky, the room turned darker and the fireplace diminished. Shadows elongated and rose from every corner. "What's happening?" Serena panted weakly, watching all of her packmates that seemed to be frozen just like Ajax before her eyes snapped back to Lilith, who stood tall in the now dark room. Ulrich rubbed his face tiredly. "Werewolves and their idiocy," he murmured, irritated. Lilith's cold eyes were fixed on Ajax though. "If I wanted to kill you or your mate, to my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Believe me, I would have done it in less than a second without wasting anyone's time. You and all of your warriors stand no chance against me, she said with an icily terrifying voice. Then the darkness once again retreated and light filled the room. The chirping of birds could be heard from outside, and the shadows were gone. Ajax and his men suddenly hunched a bit, as if released from a tight hold, and began panting hard, while staring at Lilith with caution. Serena quickly ran to Ajax's side and grabbed his arm, trying to calm him down. Her wolf was whining at seeing their mate in that state, but for some reason it was snapping at Lilith. Serena was shocked to feel her wolf bare her neck for Lilith. But to your luck, I have decided to stand on your side and aid you, spoke Lilith. The storm in her eyes swirled before she continued. I want Melina dead as much as you want. She went on. Many on the side of the dark seek the light and want to turn on the right side, and so many on the light side deserve to rot in the depth of the shadows because of their corrupted hearts. Don't open your mouth and spew accusing words before you know anything about a person. Learn to control your emotions. Young Alpha, this time I let it slide because I know you are angry and shocked. Ajax looked away, not saying a word. His jaw clenched as he tried to regulate his breathing. Ulrich leaned forward, placed his forearms on the table and folded his hands while glancing between the faces in the room. Are we going to sit back and talk further about the situation or not? He spoke after a moment, before looking at Lilith. I'm sure there are more things we need to know and discuss. I have heard you and Werewolf Zolfaking had found a way to stop and defeat Melina. I would like to hear what it is too. It's enough for now, said Lilith. We will talk further in a few hours. Alphas and leaders of covens are gathering here as well, summoned by me, Alpha King, and the council. I will tell you everything else in another meeting with them. She glanced at Werewolf briefly before strolling toward the door, followed by Royal Gamma and Sebastian. I gave you enough info for one meeting. She spoke loudly. Go and rest for a few hours to calm down. The next meeting will be longer than this one, and you need all of your energy for that. An hour had passed since Lilith had finished the meeting by walking out of the dining room. Ulrich and his fellows had left without another word, leaving the werewolves alone. Silence had fallen across the room and the only sound was the males panting. Serena, drained from feeling so many extreme feelings during the meeting, had fallen on a chair with a loud sigh. It had effectively brought Ajax out of his anger trance. Serena. Ajax quickly knelt in front of her. All anger that was bubbling inside of him a moment ago was long forgotten, replaced by worry and concern at the distressed sound his mate made. He quickly reached out and grabbed her hand tightly. Hey, I've got you, he said softly, rubbing his thumbs on the back of her hands. Are you all right? I think none of us are after what we heard, answered Serena, without opening her eyes. We still are not sure if Ajax. Serena opened her eyes and stared into her mate's eyes. We all know that she is telling the truth. There is no point in denying it. Ajax looked away from Serena and his jaw clenched. Hooking a finger under his chin, she forced him to look at her again. Just because it's hard and painful for us to believe doesn't mean she is lying, she reasoned. Everyone from Alpha King to council members trust her, and I feel it in my bones that she is right. All this time, we were all just pawns in someone's dirty game. Grayson groaned. He plopped down on another chair, rubbed his face hard, and then ran his hands through his hair. I don't know how to feel, he continued, to feel slightly relieved that maybe I'm not such a devil and someone else was to blame for all my cruelties, or feel shitter thinking that she only gave me a push to show him I true ugly face. The beta seemed truly disrupted. Dark bags were still under his eyes and he looked so disheveled. It was obvious that guilt was eating him alive day by day. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylen Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Damien put a hand on his twin's shoulder, hating to see his brother going through self-loathing. Stop doing this. We need you focused. Brother. Grayson sprang to his feet. I need to clear my mind, he said firmly while looking at the door. In going for a run, We'll be back soon. Damien, go with him, Ajax ordered as he watched his first beta and best friend leave the room. He is not in a good shape. Damien didn't need to be told twice and quickly left after his twin. Well, I really don't know what to say. Mick sighed and looked at Serena and Ajax with sympathy. I'm sorry. Lip, I only can say this right now. Serena, you need to rest. James stepped toward his friend, watching her with concerned eyes. You look pale and drained. Ax was quick to jump on James' idea. They had quickly left the room after but had met a few alphas on their way to their room. After convincing Ajax that she was safe in the castle and could find her way back to their room, they parted ways. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Nick and James left with the other alphas to talk, and Serena walked upstairs toward their room. But she had found the fairly large semicircular balcony and had spent the last hour watching the scenery before her and thinking about what she had heard in the meeting. She couldn't believe that someone could be so heartless as to curse an entire bloodline for their selfish thoughts, condemning a lot of innocent people to a life of pain and misery. Melina's curse not only affected Serena's bloodline but everyone connected to them, like the Ironclaw pack who were wiped off the surface of Aetheria, or the Crimson Crescent pack who had suffered for years. If Lilith had not lifted the curse to some extent and hadn't helped Serena and Ajax to reunite again, only God knew what would have happened for the pack. Probably, most of the pack members would have died of starvation or the pack would have been dismantled. All of those people, all innocent, should have gone through hard lives only because someone wanted more power. So many people should have died just because a greedy woman wanted her sister gone. And for someone as selfless and kind-hearted as Serena, it was hard to accept such a fact. The sight is bewitching, isn't it? Serena jumped and whirled around at hearing the firm voice. She saw Lilith walking toward her, staring at the plains with a slight smile on her face. I have come to admire the scene so much, continued Lilith as she stood beside Serena, still not looking at her. Serena respectfully bowed her head for Lilith. Yes, it is. Serena nodded and glanced back at the green lands again. It makes you doubt the fact that we are living in an apex moment in our history, as if no one is preparing for war. Indeed, Lilith chuckled. Sometimes it feels that the nature and the peace it offers are mocking you and the turmoil that's going on inside and around you. Serena glanced sideways at Lilith and was shocked to see an ocean of emotions on her face. From exhaustion to sadness and longing, Serena gulped before talking. My lady, I'm so sorry for my mates accusing you and your sincere intentions. The story that you told us was so startling, and Ajax is just so possessive and protective of me. Oh, don't worry yourself. Lilith waved a nonchalant hand before glancing at Serena and giving her a weak smile. I have seen firsthand how an alpha male can be possessive and protective of his mate. Plus, it's so logical that he doesn't trust me given who has raised me. Serena watched Lilith's face turn cold and her hands clenched around the railing tightly. It was obvious how much she loathed the idea of being Melin as daughter. Your parents and the way of your upbringing don't define who you truly are. Serena spoke softly, smiling when Lilith looked at her. Your soul and your heart can seek another path that your parents can't control. You can choose a completely different path, and that is what defines you. Your choices and actions, especially in dark times, are based on what your heart truly desires and therefore show what kind of a person you are. Lilith smiled gratefully in return. You are so wise. Serena, she complimented truthfully. I'm so happy to meet you. Alpha Ajax and his pack are so lucky to have you as their Luna. Serena's smile wavered a bit. About that? Fumbling with her fingers. We never thanked you for lifting the curse and bringing us back together. Thank you so much. My lady. You're welcome, sweetheart. Lilith smiled slightly before looking ahead again. They were silent for a few minutes, just staring ahead before Lilith broke it again. Speak. Serena, she ordered. Ask me the questions that are running in your mind. I just can't understand. Serena sighed while shaking her head. How can someone be that cruel? Doesn't she feel bad when she sees people in pain? Lilith's lips stood up at one side. Her mind doesn't work like yours. Serena, she answered. Not so many people are as compassionate as you are. In her mind, she only cares about herself. Seeing people at her feet and below her brings satisfaction to her heart. It's a great pleasure for her to see those who oppose her in pain, making an example of them for others. She then smiled genuinely at seeing the horrified look in Serena's eyes. People like you are a gift for this world. My dear, someone who can't even harm their enemy if given the chance, she said softly. It's people like you who bring balance to this world and heal its wounds. Seeing you gives people like me the courage to fight. That there is still good in this world that is worth fighting for. Serena rocked her head a bit. Feeling shy, the blush on her cheeks made Lilith chuckle and she mumbled about how much she was adorable and innocent. Was she at least a good mother for you? Serena asked quietly after a moment of silence. She knew it was a very personal question, but curiosity was killing her. Was that devil woman at least good to her own daughter? Do you think I would have been here, betraying her this easily if she was a good mother? Lilith deadpanned and glanced sideways at Serena with an insane look in her eyes. I was just curious. Serena mumbled and bit her bottom lip. Lilith sighed tiredly. No, she wasn't, she stated simply, making Serena's head whip toward her. Her face was cold and emotionless. She is not even my real mother. What? Serena yelled shocked. But you said. Lilith cut her off and continued. She always told me that she found me abandoned in the forest near the coven when I was just an infant. Her jaw ticked as she continued. But recently I discovered that my parents were two of the rebels who had fled from the coven to be safe from Melina. She had found them and killed them in cold blood. But for some unknown reason, when she found me, she kept me alive and brought me back with her. I think the reason was she was so fascinated with the aura she could see around me and wanted to turn me into a loyal weapon for herself. Her executor. She closed her eyes at the end. Her hands were clenching the railings so tightly that her knuckles had turned white. Her eyes snapped open once she felt Serena's hand on top of hers. Her shoulders relaxed, feeling the waves of pure and soothing energy the small healer was transferring into her body in order to calm her down. But here you are. Serena spoke softly with a hint of pride. Not the devil she wanted, but some strong woman who has stood against her. Your real parents should be so proud of you, my lady. Thank you, Serena. Lilith smiled tiredly at her before laughing under her breath. Goodness me. I've become a softie recently. She shook her head as if she was amused with herself. I'm not that cold bitch anymore. I'm letting my guard down and show my emotions. I feel weak. That's not a bad thing, responded Serena. It's very good that you let your emotions loose, not bottling them up. To be honest, it makes me feel good. You trust me and feel safe with me to show them. Yes, you are right. Lilith nodded before turning and looking up toward the sky, letting the sun dance on her pale face. It feels good to not need to act like an ice queen anymore and be the person I always desired to be. Serena stared at the woman beside her, feeling her respect for her increasing in her heart by the second. She was sure Lilith had gone through a hard life before being able to leave Mel in at side, and it made her heart ache for her. For how long have you worked against Melina? She asked curiously. Lilith opened her eyes and looked down at Serena. It should have been so tiring and scary to go against her back. Serena went on. Lilith answered and sighed. At the start, I tried to help people behind her back, stealthily ruining her plans, rescuing those she targeted while trying my best to keep my image of the loyal daughter in her eyes. Then, once seeing and performing her cruel orders became too much for me, I secretly began searching for a way to kill her and free everyone of her clutches. Does she know about the fact that you work against her? She found out nearly 2 weeks ago. Lilith smirked. And she was not the happiest woman alive. Serena, where are you? Ajax's deep voice filled her mind. His voice had an undertone of worry. Don't worry. I'm in the big balcony on the 2nd floor, she quickly answered, not wanting to make him more worried. I'm coming there. Don't move. She raised her head and saw Lilith smiling down at her with a raised eyebrow and a playful gleam in her eyes. Your mate called you. asked Lilith. Serena could swear that she saw a flash of sadness in Lilith and Edith's eyes for a second before it was gone, making her doubt if she had seen it in the first place or not. Yes, he is coming here. Then it's better I leave, said Lilith. It was a pleasure talking to you. Luna, Serena. See you around. She then turned on her heels and walked toward the doorway. Serena waved her hand, watching Lilith reach the glass doors of the balcony just as Ajax walked through them. She bit her lip, waiting for Ajax's reaction, but to her relief, after a moment, her mate bowed his head slightly for Lilith and Lilith and stepped out of her way. Lilith nodded for him and then walked out of the doors. Serena saw a shadow immediately following Lilith and quickly recognized the royal Gamma, making her frown. She had forgotten to ask Lilith about the mystery of royal Gamma following her everywhere like a god. Was he her mate? She quickly dismissed the thought. Mates wouldn't act around each other that way. If they were mates, they would act more affectionately than that. Not like a soldier and commander. Her frown turned to a warm smile as Ajax stood in front of her and pulled her into his arms. Laying her head on his muscular chest, she let out a sigh as his masculine scent engulfed her. Her wolf made a purr as well. It was becoming ridiculous how much she would miss him only after an hour. I told you to go and rest. Grumbled before kissing the crown of her head. I was restless. She pulled away and smiled up at him. Besides, I don't think I can ever sleep without you by my side again. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. A grin lit up his face and he quickly leaned down and captured her mouth. One of her hands quickly went up and cupped his cheek while the other curled around his neck, pulling him closer. Their lips moved gently against each other in a sweet kiss for a few minutes before they pulled away. I don't think I can't sleep beside you and keep my hands to myself anymore. My Luna, he husked against her lips, drawing small circles on her back with his thumbs. She hid her face in his chest as heat crawled up her neck to her face. She bit her lip hard to prevent herself from giving him the green light to take her right there and then. Slowly but surely the fire for mating fully with him was burning her alive. But they were not in the place nor the time to complete their mating and have sex for the first time. What were you talking about? She looked up and found him glaring in the direction of the balcony doors. About Melina. Serena answered truthfully. Ajax let out a low growl at the mention of the witch guest's name and looked down at his mate. Confused. He grunted and ran a hand through his hair. On one hand, I don't trust her, especially after learning that she is that motherfucking bitch's daughter. And on the other hand, I don't know. My wolf feels a great respect toward her. Then trust your wolf's instincts. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Responded Serena. Lilith is a good woman. She told me that she is not even Melina's true daughter. Melina has taken her after killing her parents and has lied to her all her life about it. She has had a hard life because of Melina too. Enthusiasm. Ajax's frown intensified before he sighed and rested his forehead against Serena. You are tired, whispered Serena while caressing his stubble lovingly. You have not slept a wink since the day before yesterday. And tired mentally more than physically. He answered without opening his eyes. His hold tight and around his mate and he pulled her closer. My wolf is making me crazy. He is constantly on the edge. I'm anxious and angry too, knowing that someone is out there who is after my mate's life. He then pulled his head back a bit and stared into her eyes with love and determination. Serena, I won't let her touch you, he said firmly. She should walk over my dead body before reaching you. I promise to keep you safe. A shiver went up her spine at the thought of anything happening to her mate. Even the mere thought of living in a world without Ajax had become so terrifying for her. Don't, she gulped. This is not only your fight. I will never forgive myself if anything happens to you because of me. We will fight side by side. I won't live without you anymore. Ajax quickly grabbed her arms and shook her a bit. His heart fluttered hearing her concern for his life, but his eyes darkened at hearing her bold words. She was talking and promising to do so out of her element. War was nowhere for someone with her delicate and gentle soul. There was no way in hell that he would let her anywhere close to the battlefield. He would do anything to keep her safe, even if it meant put her in a second, send her back to his pack before the start of the war. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nelben, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. He was touched by her courage to fight by his side. But a battlefield filled with savage rouge and God knew what other wild and mindless enchanted creatures was not a place for a delicate woman like his Seren. If anything, her careless attitude was making him angry. Did you forget what you promised me before coming here? He seethed through gritted teeth. You promised me to stay out of harm's way and listen to whatever I tell you. I can't fucking afford to lose you. Serena, as your mate, it's my duty to take care. What about me then? She retorted angrily. You talk about your duties toward me all the time. Are you not my mate? Don't I have feelings? Do you expect me to sit and do nothing while you give your life for me? Have you thought about how I will live in this world if anything happens to you? Do you plan to leave me alone again? Ajax's heart stopped at seeing tears bereaming her hurt-filled eyes. Serena. Catching a tear on her cheek with his thumb. Please try to understand me now. She fired, pulled out of his hold and took a step back. Her hands balled into fists and her body began to shake with fear and anger. Her heart was clenching so badly as emotions attacked her hard. Why do you only think about yourself? Her wolf was restless as well, pawing at the walls of her mind, making her feel worse. Her wolf's message was so clear. She wanted to fight beside her mate and wouldn't take no for an answer. Is this your new torture method? She asked while crying. Does Malina's curse still work? Because standing back and watching you go to war and get killed possibly is worse than torture. Serena, calm down. My love. Ajax cooed softly and reached a hand toward her. Seeing her sobbing and emotionally hurt was equivalent to being stabbed in the heart over and over. You're not going anywhere, sweetheart. He tried again. We talked about dying. Dying is only a possibility for me. I'm an alpha. Remember. I'm hard to get rid of. Serena quickly stepped out of his reach and shook her head. Melina was a powerful witch. She had seen how Lilith had kept all of the powerful high ranks of her pack, including Ajax, frozen without even lifting a finger. If Melina was as strong as Lilith, Ajax had no chance in front of her. Melina was coming for her based on Lilith's words, and she knew Ajax wouldn't hesitate to stand between them. The images that suddenly popped at the front of her mind were making her nauseous. I can't, Ajax. She clawed at her chest, right above her heart while staring at her mate with tearful eyes. The fear is eating me alive. Please don't push me away. Let me stay beside you just like you want me to stay beside you all the time. Serena, I love you. Ajax's eyes went wide and he could swear his heart stopped beating altogether for a good few seconds. His mind was unable to comprehend Serena's last three words that were repeating in his mind over and over again. Had he heard her right? He gulped, feeling his throat going dry. What? He whispered. I love you, sobbed Serena softly. You won. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nelben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. You have my heart, soul, and body fully. I love you. I love you. Before she could finish her last sentence, Ajax was in front of her and his lips had crashed down on hers with such a hunger that shut her up instantly. He kissed her with such a force, hunger, and passion that made her breathless in a second. His mouth worked so hard against hers, sucking and biting that she was unable to keep up with his pace. Her knees buckled under her, and if it was not because of Ajax's tight hold around her waist, she would have ended up in a puddle on the ground. He finally pulled away after what felt like ages. Say it again. He rasped against her now swollen lips. For God's sake. Serena. Say it again. I love you. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nelben. Heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Serena spoke again. No words had ever left her mouth more easily than those three magical words. Her heart and her soul were screaming them in sync. Thunk. Ajax buried his face in her neck and took deep shuddering breaths in her scent. trying to keep his emotions in check, or else he would have jumped her bones right there. Serena moaned and clutched Ajax's shirt in tight fists when she felt him biting her mark before sucking and licking it with hunger. Ajax kissed his way up her neck to her mouth before kissing her again feverishly. His wolf was howling over and over from happiness. His heart was beating so wildly and erratically that the whole castle should have been able to hear it. Never in his life had he ever felt that happy and ecstatic. "You don't know what's going on inside of me," he groaned, feeling himself hardening at feeling her warm breath fanning his lips. "I thought I would die without hearing you saying. You don't know how much I'm happy. I fucking love you. Please don't talk about dying again." She pleaded weakly. "Whatever you want, my love." Ajax pecked her lips and pulled away to wipe the tears of joy that had run down his face uncontrollably. Serena's heart melted. Everyone knew her mate as a strong, cold, and arrogant alpha. But with her, he would show his tender and emotional side, and she was so proud of herself. He sniffled, then cupped both of her cheeks and looked deep into her eyes. "Now that I have heard those words, I promise you, Serena, that I fight even death to stay with you for a long time," he said with promise and finality in his words. "Nothing can stop me from coming back to your side, and no one can stand between us. That's my promise to you." "That's relieving to hear," smiling up at him. But his eyes hardened and his face turned a bit cold, making her heart drop in anticipation. "Still, there is no way in hell I let you near harm's way. Okay, I won't send you back to the pack as I planned to do, but I want you to promise me to do whatever you can to stay safe and think about yourself first." "Okay, but..." Serena opened her mouth to protest, but Ajax put a finger on her lips and silenced her. "No buts, my Seren," he said strictly. "I told you that I will come back to you even from the depth of hell. Can't you hold to my promise and do as I say? This is the least you can do for me. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm," she answered after a kind of hesitance. "I will promise you to stay safe." His alpha aura was seeping out of him in waves. His eyes, which were changing color between brown and silver, were so intense and so full of promise that left her with no choice other than to trust her mate and alpha. "Good." He dipped his head, ready to kiss her again, now that the problem was out of the way. "Now let me kiss you again." But right as their lips touched, the sound of a throat being cleared pulled them apart. Ajax growled and they both looked at the intruder, and they saw a blushing Nick standing there, rubbing the back of his neck awkwardly. "I'm sorry for interrupting you. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Nobel, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." "Luna," he cringed a bit, "but the big meeting is about to begin, and you need to be present there." Chapter 38, A Gift. "What I'm going to tell you is something that only a few are aware of." Lilith spoke loudly while glancing at all the eager faces in the big council room. "You are the trusted leaders and warriors who are selected to know about it as well. 5 alphas, including Ajax with their betas and gamma S, 3 leaders of witches and mages covens, plus Alric and a few of his generals and guards had gathered in the meeting that Lilith had requested. 3 Lunas, including Serena, were there too, sitting beside their mate. The members of the council had sat upon their thrones and were watching everything with their sharp eyes. I've risked my own life finding out about this secret of our enemy, and it's our only chance to defeat Melina. Lilith continued. When Melina came back to the realm of light, she wasn't able to find a body to fit her soul. Each unfortunate body that she would choose wouldn't bear to carry her dark soul. So when she found a willing witch who was fairly strong and eager to give her life for her, she used a very strong and unforgiving spell and split her soul into small pieces. The biggest part resided in the body she had found in order to have a physical form, and she hid the rest parts. Whispers rose as people glanced at each other with disbelief. "How is that even possible?" asked Luna Grace from Hellpack. Hellpack was a large pack in the north, located on the slopes of the always snowy northern mountain chain. The wolves of the pack were all fierce warriors, and their Luna wasn't an exception. The alpha was a literal giant, and his mate was a tall and well-built she-wolf too. As Lady Lilith told you, it's an ancient spell. One of the elders who was a magician answered the question. It is so old that no one really remembers it. It only exists in the very old book of the witches and mages that was written in the Dark Era. No wonder Melina of all people knows the spell. As long as all the pieces of the soul remain alive, the owner is strong. Even stronger than any normal person because they won't die even if something happens to their physical body. Lilith explained. But each time a part dies, the owner becomes weaker. She paused for a second, letting what she said to get absorbed before continuing. Melina is a very strong witch. Only a few in Aethuria have the power and were to stand against her and stay alive for a few minutes. There is no spell and curse that she doesn't know, plus she has the knowledge of the shadows as well, knowing how to wield it as she wants. So the only way for us to defeat her is to find her pieces of soul and destroy them before challenging her. Ulrich butted in excitedly. His eyes shone brightly as hope glinted in them. To my agent extraordinaire, Madeleine Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Lilith nodded. So where are her soul pieces hidden? Asked the leader of one of the witches' covens. How can we find them? There is no need for you to worry about it. Lilith stood straighter. 3 pieces are already found and destroyed. Gasps filled the air and excited chatter filled the circular room. Silence. A werewolf member of the council yelled, stopping the voices immediately. Let Lady Lilith finish her speech. As the daughter of Melina, I was one of the closest people to her. Lilith spoke. Her voice was icy and hard. After years I was able to find out the truth about Melina's soul parts. I gathered that Melina has divided her soul into 4 pieces. One alive in her body and the others put into tokens hidden across different parts of Aethuria. The tokens are special highly enchanted objects. They're not necessarily expensive objects. The soul part were hidden inside a small vase, a black stone, and a blade, but they were highly protected by dark magic. But the problem was not that. It was how to destroy them. Only a person with certain abilities and powers was able to destroy them after reaching them. So how did you destroy them? Asked Ajax impatiently when Lilith paused for a second. I found out about the soul pieces nearly 3 months ago and immediately got to work after I found the place of the first token. Lilith answered. It was hidden deep inside the territory of Alpha King in a very ancient cave. Alpha King and I were able to find and destroy the token together. Her eyes shone for a second, as if she remembered a precious memory. As you all know, the werewolf's Alpha King is from an ancient and special bloodline. Continued Lilith with a certain level of respect in her words. He is one of the few who is able to stand against the dark magic protecting the tokens, and destroy them. After hearing me and trusting me, he became my sole ally to destroy the tokens. Werewolves glanced at each other. Maybe that was why they felt oddly respectful toward the witch, because their king trusted her. After feeling a piece of her soul being destroyed, Melina panicked. Lilith went. She was so scared and furious that someone knew about her deepest secret and was using it to destroy her. I knew I didn't have much time before my secret was out and she would find out about my treachery, so I had to find out about the other 2 tokens' whereabouts as quickly as possible. With difficulty and quiet by chance I was able to find the whereabouts of the second, and then the 3rd token before I left Melina's coven and she found out about my treachery. And you have destroyed the 2 of them? Asked a maid with excitement. Yes, with the help of Werewolf's Alpha King. That's perfect. Alpha of Iron Fist Pack stood up and slammed his fist into his opposite hand's palm and grinned wickedly. That bitch is now in her weakest state. I will bash my fist into her fucking face. There is a but. Jax growled lowly as most of the people present began to cheer alongside the Alpha of Iron Fist. It's obvious from her somber face that there is but. Serena glanced at her mate. He had leaned forward with his forearms on his thighs and his hands clasped. He looked anxious and angry and his wolf was obviously on edge. Serena gently put a hand on his back and rubbed small circles, just as Ulrich spoke loudly. There's something else. Right. Ulrich yelled loudly, silencing everyone effectively. There is still something you have not said. Right. Unfortunately, yes. Lilith pinched the bridge of her nose, suddenly looking so tired. After destroying the 3rd, we found out a truth that had been hidden from us. And it was asked Ajax gruffly, urging Lilith to talk. There was a fourth token, and easily the most important one. She elaborated. Turned out the 3 pieces we had destroyed were the small parts. Melina was able to split her soul into equal chunks. The part in her body and the fourth token are the biggest and most important ones. Where is this fourth one? Questioned Alric. Lilith slowly walked to a chair and sat down, rubbing her forehead. She suddenly even looked pale, making the royal Gamma and Sebastian rush toward her. Lilith was silent for a moment and observed every face in the room with laser, sharp eyes. She sighed after a second, looking even more tired, and shook her head. I shouldn't tell you this, she said honestly, but I want to take the risk and tell you because I trust you. All of you. And think that you all deserve to know the whole truth after what you have gone through. But I want you all to promise that this will stay here only between us, for it is very critical for our victory. Again she surveyed everyone in the room as they nodded and mumbled or shouted their vows. We are not sure about the exact location of the fourth one, she began after a few minutes. We only know that it is hid and deep in a cave up in the far north, in the territory of dragons. Dragons? Asked one of the Elfis. There are no dragons left. They all died long ago. That's where you are wrong. To my agent extraordinaire, Mylan Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm. Lilith answered, They are very much alive but have a small number. They are even stronger than before and are fierce and brave creatures. So why did you not go after it? Asked Luna Grace. I couldn't step foot into dragon's territory. Lilith shook her head defeatedly. It was actually Melina who was the cause of dragons' near extinction. Because of that, dragons hate every witch and mage altogether. So they have used a very strong spell to protect their territory from witches and mages. No witches and mages can even take a step into their realm without dying. That is why Alpha King and his beta with a few worries of his has gone there to find and destroy the token alone. Serena's breath hitched in her throat as she looked at Lilith with intensity. Lilith was doing her best to stay calm and collected. But under that cold and emotional mask, Serena could see a great shadow of pain and sadness. So what should we do now? Ajax broke the silence after a moment of pin-drop silence. All we can do is to get ready for war, answered Lilith. The fate of the fourth token and Alpha King is out of our hands. We can only pray for him. But war is coming our way. There is no doubt about it. There are 2 scenarios. One, Alpha King will hopefully destroy the token and Melina will become so weak and vulnerable. Second, he fails and we have to face Melina without that hope. But nonetheless, Melina will surely lose her wrath on us. And let me tell you, it will be the hardest war you have ever been in. How many? Questioned Elric. The number of her army. How many? Approximately of 5 savage rouges, 100 mindless vampires who think about nothing but sucking someone dry, hundreds of witches and mages and so many humans. Lilith spoke's Umbrella's gasps filled the room. The number could have increased since the time I have left. I'm not sure of the last number, but it was increasing. It should be nearly 10 to 15 of the wildest and most savage creatures of each race. Let's not forget the enchanted animals. That's so many, stated one of the coven leaders with a deep frown. We are not even 10 in number. How can we be sure that she will attack us? One of the Alphas stood up abruptly. What if she attacks our packs in our absence? She won't, Lilith answered with a tired tone. She is not an idiot. She knows attacking your packs will have no result other than leaving an army of strong warriors who are thirsty for her blood because of losing their loved ones. She then smirked wickedly. Plus, because of Luna and my presence here, you can be sure she will come here galloping. Ajax bared his teeth and a low growl left his chest. Serena quickly pressed her forehead to his shoulder and squeezed his hand. Sure. Calm down, my love, she whispered. You need to calm down. Ajax sucked in a deep breath and closed his eyes, trying to keep his anger at bay. Why did his innocent mate who cowed and even Heartfly be the main target of the most powerful witch ever? Finally, he had his mate and her love and only wanted to enjoy their lives together. That someone was hell, bent on destroying a finally beautiful life for them, and it was making him freaking livid. The only thing that was keeping him from shifting and going on a rampage was Serena clutching his hand in a death grip and her soothing scent surrounding him. "Is there anyone in Melina's army that we should be more aware of?" asked someone. "To my agent extraordinaire, Myelin Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." "There is someone." Lilith nodded, her face dead serious as a look of pure disgust crossed it. "A man, seemingly. I don't know what race he's from. No one knows other than Melina. All I know is that he suddenly appeared beside Melina when she returned, so my best guess is that he is from the shadows and somehow I found a body here." She took a long shuddering breath before continuing. "His name is Sadar and he is Melina's right hand and leader of her army." She explained more. "Melina trusts no one more than Sadar. He's one ruthless motherfucker. You can be sure. He doesn't have a heart and doesn't feel anything. But he is so strong. Very strong. He wields magic and also is a deadly warrior. So one of our targets should be him," growled Alpha Titus, who was Luna Grace's mate. "We should make sure to kill him ASAP. It won't be easy at all. And no officers. But I don't think any of you can kill him." Lilith rubbed her face. "We should plan for killing both Melina and Sadar. We can't afford any mistakes. Not now. You look so tired." The Royal Gamma put a hand on Lilith's shoulder while looking at her with concern. "You need to rest. My lady, you haven't rested for 3 days." "You are right," mumbled Lilith. "I don't know why I'm this tired." "You have consumed a lot of energy these days," spoke Sebastian with worry. "It's normal to feel tired. Let me give you a checkup." Lilith opened her eyes and stared up at Serena's worried face. She hadn't even noticed when the Luna of Crimson Crescent had walked over to her. It seemed the meeting was adjourned somehow. Everyone were discussing things in groups with passion. "There is no need for that. Serena." Lilith waved her hand nonchalantly. "I'm fine. I just need to sleep for a few hours. You can go and rest." "Lady Lilith." A woman from the council walked up to them. "You should be so tired. We will start the planning and you can join us again once you are fully rested." "Thank you." Lilith sighed and stood up before glancing at Serena. "Will you accompany me to my room? There you can examine me." "To my agent extraordinaire, Myelin Noble, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." Serena smiled brightly. "And not a good person to give war consult as well." She then glanced at Ajax, who was standing behind her. "I will see you later after you are done at the meeting." She mind-linked him, watching him nod for her before walking toward Alpha Titus. "John, SCB, I want you two to stay here." Lilith ordered and raised a hand before the Royal Gamma could protest. "Serena will come with me to my room and nothing will happen for me there. You stay here and help others to plan things. Beside me, you two are the only people who know about Melina the most." Both men glanced at each other. Hesitance was obvious in their eyes, before they both turned to Lilith and nodded for her. "Great." Lilith smiled before turning to Serena. "Let's go." "Serena." Serena quickly grabbed a hold of Lilith's arm, seeing the woman's wobbly legs. They had not even taken a step before a hand on Serena's arm stopped them both. Serena glanced over her shoulder and watched the Royal Gamma staring at her. "Please, take care of her and make sure she sleeps," he said with a gruff but polite tone. "If there is anything wrong with her health, please let me know." "I will. Don't worry." Serena nodded reassuringly. The women finally walked out of the council room and toward the flight of stairs. "Is he your mate?" Serena blurted out after the doors were closed behind them. Lilith threw her head back and began to laugh as they continued walking. "Oh dear, don't say it in front of anyone," she said once her laughing was under control. "And no, my curious kitten, he is only here to be my guard. He's so worried and protective of you." Serena felt her cheeks flush, feeling embarrassed. "I thought maybe he is." "Yeah." Lilith chuckled a bit. "The man couldn't stand me just a few weeks ago. He didn't trust me one bit. It's funny how time can change us." Serena only nodded, suddenly thinking about what Lilith said and how true it was. Her own life was a proof of that sentence. Only a few years ago she was the most hated in her pack. And now she was their beloved Luna. She was thrown out of her thoughts when Lilith abruptly stopped, making her look up at the taller woman. "I'm happy you are slowly forgiving them. Your pack, I mean," Lilith stated with soft eyes. "They were idiot people blinded by their ego and pride in Mel, and as only made them worse. But I'm sure they have learned their lesson thoroughly." Serena smiled weakly in return. "Yes, you are right. It seems that they are entirely different people. Makes hating them harder. You are a very strong woman, Serena." Lilith smiled weakly. "I have seen what hatred can do to people. How it darkens the souls to the point they don't care how much they hurt others or themselves just to take revenge. Then I'm lucky that I have not fallen into that abyss." Serena shrugged. "No," Lilith shook her head. "I told you. That's because you are so strong." Suddenly she swayed a bit and clutched her head with tightly closed eyes. "Lilith." Serena yelled concerned and tightly held Lilith, who turned even paler. "Come on. We should take you to your room soon. You need rest." They didn't talk the rest of the way as they climbed up the stairs into Lilith's room. Serena would glance worriedly at Lilith from time to time. The woman seemed to become weaker with each step, and Serena was using her power to give her more energy. Once inside the room, Serena helped Lilith toward the bed and helped her lay down. Lilith let out a long tired sigh and closed her body hit the bed. She didn't speak for a while, and that gave Serena the opportunity to quickly examine her. Closing her eyes, Serena used her powers and scanned Lilith but to her relief found nothing to cause that fatigue. No diseases or fetal hidden wounds. "I told you, I just need a bit of rest." Lilith spoke and opened her eyes, staring up at Serena. "Don't worry. You were right." Serena tilted up the covers around Lilith. "You have obviously become weak after dealing with everything. I will ask the kitchen workers to prepare something nourishing for you. You also have to rest a lot." "I will." Lilith smirked then. "You look strict when in your healer mode. Don't tease me." Serena we led playfully before getting up. "You need to rest. I will leave you to have peace." "Wait." Lilith grabbed her hand quickly before she could leave. "Do something for me before you go." Serena looked at her curiously. "What is it?" "My lady." Lilith pointed to a chest at the foot of the bed. "There is a wrapped package inside of that chest. Bring it, please." Obediently, Serena walked to the chest. Opening it, she found a package, wrapped in brown paper. She grabbed it and walked back toward Lilith and sat beside her. She said and offered the package. Lilith shook her head and pushed it toward Serena again. "It's my gift for you." "Open it." "A gift for me?" Serena questioned, surprised, and her eyes flickered toward the wrapped package. "Open it." Lilith encouraged her. Hesitantly, Serena opened the package and a gasp left her mouth when she saw a beautiful silk red dress inside of it. "This is mine," she whispered while gingerly taking out the expensive dress and holding it in the air. "Yes, it's yours." Lilith smiled at her. "I think red suits you a lot." "My lady, this is so beautiful. Thank you so much." Serena gazed back at Lilith with warmth and gratitude in her eyes. "But why? You and Alpha Ajax are not fully mated yet," Lilith stated, smirking when Serena quickly averted her eyes and her cheeks reddened. "To my agent extraordinaire, Madeline Nilban, heartfelt thanks for your unfailing patience, enthusiasm." "I was not ready, and later, with everything going we didn't have time," Serena mumbled, not knowing why she was even explaining things to Lilith. "I understand, and it's not my place to decide for you." Lilith spoke. "But with everything that is going on, only God knows when you will find the time." Serena's eyes snapped toward Lilith and met her serious face. She could easily understand the message. They were going to a war and there was no guarantee that they would come out of it alive. If things would go wrong, something could have happened for any of them. The thought caused Serena to gulp and clutch the dress to her chest. Her eyes had widened in both fear and realization, and her heart was beating frantically. "I didn't say it to scare you, Serena," Lilith said. But I want you to live in the moment. Time is a precious thing. If you want something and have both passion and means to make it happen, do not hesitate for a second to do it. Because there may be no tomorrow. You may lose to experience something awesome. Do you get what I mean? Yes, Serena nodded slowly in realization. Yes, I guess it. Lilith smiled widely. Tonight, don't think about anything unpleasant. She instructed. Don't think about tomorrow or Melina or war. Just focus on yourself and your mate. You both deserve it. Try to relax and have a good night together as a couple. You can wear that dress too. I think you will look more sexy in it. God, Lilith. Serena mumbled and rubbed her face as a fluttering sensation happened in her heart. At hearing Lilith's ending words, a fire initiated in the pit of her stomach and images flooded her mind, making her mouth salviate head and heat crawl up to her face. Oh no! Lilith growled and put her arm upon her eyes. You won't sit here, thinking about naughty things, and drooling over your mate. Get out of my room now. I want to rest. I did my job to advise you. Oh, of course. You want to rest. Serena sprang to her feet while pressing the dress to her heart. Her face was burning from embarrassment. Thank you for everything and rest well. My lady, be creative and enjoy yourself. Lilith called out, her smirk evident from under her arm. Serena quickly rushed out of the room and closed the door behind her before Lilith could embarrass her more. She didn't stop and rushed toward her room. Once inside, she leaned on the door and let out a sigh. Opening her eyes, she walked up toward the vanity and hesitantly held the dress in front of her. Lilith was right. Red really suited her. The dress was made of fine silk and was so soft and a bit see-through. It was sleeveless and would fall loosely on her body till her ankles. Gulping, she closed her eyes and thought about what Lilith told her once again. The witch was right after all. She loved Ajax and he loved her too. In the past few days, they were so hungry to mate, and Serena was sure if they were still back in the pack, they had mated already. The thought of mating with Ajax sent a wave of heat down to her core, making her wet. She bit her lip, stared at herself in the mirror and nodded firmly. She wanted Ajax and he obviously wanted her, so nothing was going to stop them that night from getting what they wanted.